A good Erev Shabbos, a good Erev Shabbos. Shalom, peace, welcome. So it's been a minute. It's the short Fridays. Short Fridays are challenging. Challenging how? It's not just challenging personally, it's challenging in the cloud, it's challenging globally, it's challenging if we're all connected, we're all one piece. We're Malchus Knesset Yisrael, which means Koines, we're all one. And if there's a stretch from one side, and usually there's a pull from one end, so the other side is able to make up for it. You may feel a little more strain, uh, an hour of the day, a time of the day, or a day of the week, or a week of the month. You may feel a stretch because there's somebody else pulling, and somebody else is another brother or sister that needs help and needs an extra hand. They're going through whatever they're geographically, wherever they are placed, and they are centered, and in that specific area, based on the alignment, they're receiving and they're experiencing a certain difficulty. So we step in and we lend a hand. But if we are all Erev Shabbos and everybody has to make Shabbos at a certain time, and everybody's pulling and everybody's stretching, it's not just about preparing the challahs and preparing the table. It's shutting down this huge operation, shutting down everything and saying enough, saying die. Mish Amar Elam die. Whoever said enough, and that thunder and that echo is going all the way down till we have a moment of from imagine you're doing 100 miles per hour and then you're pulling the emergency brake. That's puts a lot of stress over there. That's not a pretty sight, even with the seatbelts. So we're doing this massive forward motion. Everybody's active and the machines are running and it's all heated and last minute things trying to close the week and then pulling the brakes, and everybody's pulling the brakes at one time. So that puts a tremendous amount of stress. But ultimately, that pull and that stress is what is Vitzi Eschem Mikira Barzel. This is what is pulling us out from behind the Iron Curtain, which means that as the Ria Kaddish talks about it, that the way we separate gold from the dirt, it's a process of cooking it, and the dirt goes down, and the gold goes up. So too, we are going through a process in Mitzrayim where we're separating the gold. We're heating up the earth. We're heating up Malchus. The Malchus is the body. The body is earth. This whole Olam Asiyah, and every level there is Malchus, which shows up in a different way. And it's within us. All these elements and all these stages of consciousness are within us. And when you're pulling the brakes, this is designed as we're heating up the earth. We're heating up the whole week. And then when you pull the brakes, there is a separation, and you're able to separate from the chomer, from the physical, from the hardship into the ruach, into the tzura, into the energy, into the koyach. And that is the process. That is where we're going into Shabbos. The whole week we're cooking up, and then comes Friday, comes the seventh day, comes Shabbos, Kol Hashvivin Chavivin, comes the seventh day, and we are, as you pull the emergency brakes, if you're learning and you're training yourself how to go inward, how to be present with yourself, and when you pull the brakes, all of a sudden you find yourself in a moment of presence. You find yourself in this oneness, in Nun Sharabina, in level 50. If you want to sweeten the judgments, you have to go to the source. What does it mean going to the source? Going to the source is that we understand that all the restraint and all the pull that we are feeling and we're experiencing is only Misha Aman Dai. That's because he said, Creator said enough. Why did it say enough? Because if he didn't say enough and things continued flowing and continued to go, then we would not know that we exist. You know the spiel. So there had to be a process of enough, and this enough is designed, that creates a pull, creates a restraint, and that creates a tzimtzum, and that creates pain. And that pain, if you go to the source and you understand that everything that you're experiencing is just so we can go into finding center of self, finding the inner self, finding the true meaning of the center line of what we're doing over here. And that is our job, to bring tikkun into Toyu, to bring the light, bring the purpose into any type of confusion, bringing the light into any type of confusion. So, yes, So yes, if you're not giving, if you're not putting out, you're not receiving back, right? If you're not giving, you can't receive, and if you're not receiving, you're not giving. So everything is in a standstill. But within that space, you find self. Within that space, you find self, finding the self, finding the or chazer of everything that you already know, everything that you already know. So Ve'era el Avram Yitzchak Yaakov Bekel Shaka Yishmi Hashem Lo Nedat Yelham. This is a very powerful parsha that we're dealing with over here. There is a whole negotiation over here between Moshe and the Eibishter, back and forth. He is going, he's not going, and finally he goes, and things turn upside down. Things get tougher, they get harder, and the famous question he asked the Eibishter, why did you do this, and why how could you do more? How did it get worse? Why did you do this? And all the Mefarshim are going in with it, going back and forth. And really, what are we talking about? He wasn't questioning Eibishter. He lived in a space. He lived in Chachma. Chachma is koyach. Man was fully surrendered. He understood. He understood the noilet. He saw Seif Masa Moshav Tchila. He saw the whole picture. He saw the whole thing. He even saw that he's not going to bring the Yidden into Eretz Yisrael. He even saw that he's not going to bring the Yidden into Eretz Yisrael. So therefore, he said, if I'm not going to bring the Yidden into Eretz Yisrael, why should I? The receiver can only be as good as the mashpia. The mushpa can only be as good as the receiver, as the mashpia. In other words, you can't get more than what the guy that's giving is giving you. So if I already know, if he knew that he's not going to bring in the Yidden to Eretz Yisrael, he said, "Leave me alone. I'm not going to finish the job anyways. It's a failed mission. It's a failed project as far as I'm concerned, being in the picture." So Bekel Shaka, the Elav Mitzvah Bekel Shaka, that the Eibishter tells him, look, so really what he was questioning over here is like, how is something so positive, from the ultimate positive, how can something not positive come out? How can something negative happen from this space? How does this work? Like, where do I need to be? Where do we need to go to get to that place where it just dissolves? That the illusion of the tightness of that knot, just for, when you pull a knot, you pull it too strong, then you make it too tight, and that creates the friction itself that you can't open it up. But if you pull the tie very smooth, you just click, it opens up. Where do I need to pull? Where do we need to go in order to find that center, in order to untie this illusion of whatever we are entangled with? So the Eibishter tells him, which Shaka is, which means this is here in the physical world, all the way down here in Olam Asiyah. Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, I only show them Kel Shaka, which means that they only saw me in physical. What does it mean, only saw me in physical? They only saw me in Teva, so to speak. Teva means that, look, I told Avram that you're going to go into, I'm giving you Eretz Yisrael, but yet he had to pay for the Ma'aras HaMachpelah. Yitzchak is going to be your offspring, he's going to be the future, and then he tells him to go to the Akedah. Can you imagine? And then Yaakov had to go to Mitzrayim, and then he had to deal with Yosef, he had to deal with everything that he was dealing with Lavan and his whole life story. But yet they didn't question me, which means you told me that next week is going to be better. You told me that it's going to work out, and you told me that, and I'm hoping and everything is good, and yet nothing is happening. That's exactly what it looked like on a much, much deeper, larger scale, because we're talking here about the brain of our consciousness, and everything was on the line. It's not just about my own personal agenda. We're talking about Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, the fathers of this whole nation, of everything that's happening around, everything that's going on. That's what they represented. So there was really a sense of urgency. It was so urgent that the brothers sold Yosef because of that urgency. They're like, this is not a joke, we're not playing around, because he had one mahalach and they had another way of how they're going to align this oneness into here in Welt, and therefore they had to let go of him, right? That's how urgent that was. So Ani Hashem, so the Eibishter reveals himself to him with Yitzka Vavke, which is the generator, the oil, the light that generates everything in here in that's hidden, that's goes into a certain, into a box, into letters, into bricks, into the picture. Show them the light behind the picture. You show them the movement behind the picture. So how do we get out of this? How do we get out of this? How do we find, how do we soften, how do we finally make this alignment from the entanglement into Yudke Vavke? That is with, we have to be Mesikas, with the niggin, with the sheer, with compassion. You have to pull very, very steady and very slow and steady. Whatever pace you're taking, it has to be steady. And you have to keep going. You have to keep going, staying with the staying with the mission, staying with the goal, and understanding that what you're experiencing, and as it's getting really, really tight, because you are really pulling, and you're really pulling, and you're almost there, and it's getting really tight because it's that knot that you're about to pull out from the tie. It's right there, and then you have to give the last pull, and it opens up. And that is the process that we are in right now, from going out of Mitzrayim, going out of our own personal Mitzrayim, each and every one of us, and our Mitzrayim globally, our global Mitzrayim. So what are we learning? We're learning is that we have both sides. We have Kel Shaka, which is that we have the ability to withstand. It's within our DNA. We have it. You have it. We have it within us. It's flowing in our blood. It's flowing in our DNA to be able to see through the confusion, to be able to see through and own self, to get present with self and understand that everything is Eibishter, and it's not your problem to solve. It's not your problem to solve. The spin and the dreidel and everything that you are going through is the spin and is the twist. But that's not where the solution to the problem is. The solution to the problem is by going inside, going into Amunah, going into understanding that in order for something from ayin, something from simplicity to reveal itself, this is just the vessel that we are in, and we're here to connect that. Fine. Happens to be, I was talking this morning to somebody, so we're talking about Barzel, and we have Va'era El is Begamatria Barzel, which means that Va'era, seeing the way, it's almost like a mask. It's a mask. It's when you look through, when Eibishter comes here in Welt, and we are here, when we're living in Olam Asiyah, it's through metal. It's the metal chains. That's how we see it with Achskira Basel. We went down to Egypt in metal chains, and that is what we are melting away. So yeah. What else? I'm not sure what else is. There's a lot. There's a lot of fire going on this week, but we're just doing just giving the head of it, where it's at, to understand where it's at, where it needs to be. Not that we are there, but we know where it's at. Not to question anything, and just taking that push, taking that the shtoikikas, taking that desire, and that what you're experiencing, that is this powerful, when you are in peak of your spin, or you're in the peak of your twist, if you just take a deep breath and just feel that, taking away the machshava, taking away the oisis of it, taking away the picture, taking away of what the struggle looks like, but tapping into the actual energy of it, you're experiencing a yechida moment. You're experiencing a godly moment. That is going from Shakai to Yudke Vavke to Ekya. Ekya, that's where we want to be. Ekya, Asher Ekya. Going from Shakai to Ekya Asher Ekya. From going from the cover, from the heaviness, from the pipes that are concealing the light of what this light is flowing through. It's coming to, it's almost like a straw. It's like a metal straw that goes through that, and we're experiencing the metal. But if you go into the juice that's flowing from within, that flow from within, that energy, that spark from within, that is the Ekya. That is us experiencing this powerful light of Ekya Asher Ekya. Just to be. It is what it is. Have an awesome Shabbos. What else? Yud is coming up next week. It's going to be Yud, so we'll probably do a shir, fabrengen. Something is going to be happening either Tuesday or it's next week Shabbos, so either Tuesday or Thursday, something like that. I hope, Lena, there. We'll see how things go. Have an awesome Shabbos. Much love. L'chaim.